What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the 14th episode of the Niche Notable podcast with Nick and 40. Today's episode is very special. We have Cole KIRST, a pro lacrosse player for the California Redwoods. He formerly played at Seton Hall Prep, which is where I went to high school, followed by Lehigh and Syracuse. And then he was on the USA U21 team where they won the gold medal. If you know lacrosse, you know the last name KIRST. It's probably the most influential name in the game right now. Cole, what's going on, man? Welcome to the pod.
Thanks so much for having me, Nick. Really fired up to be here and really appreciate the kind introduction. Thanks so much.
Of course, man. I've been watching you since I think I was in seventh grade. You were playing at Livingston High School in the state championship. That's when I first got introduced to your name, and I've been following your career ever since. So it's really cool to have you on.
Epic. No, thank you. Epic moments at Livingston High School. Holy cow. From the entire state of New Jersey, but really appreciate it. Really excited to be here. I studied journalism, studied broadcast media. So to have this experience, I'm really excited and fired up to just share the time with you.
Of course. All right. So taking things back, what's your origin story with lacrosse? Like, when did you first pick up the stick?
Definitely. So our dad played, he grew up on Long Island in Huntington, New York, and he played in his youth ages all the way to high school, and then had an opportunity to further his education and be a student athlete at Rutgers University. And that's where he met my mom and started a family. He was a teacher and a coach in New Jersey at a number of different high schools, but it really starts with him being on the sidelines of Summit High School in our elementary and middle school years. That's really where the love and the passion for the sport really grew for myself and then for my brothers. And we've just always been around the game. And that's really the first memory, being in the locker room, being around those teams and just that unbelievable community. And then having the opportunity to grow up in Bernardsville and play for our rec program in Somerset Hills. We just wanted to follow into those footsteps of those leaders and be the men that they have become and continue to strive to be. So it really starts with our dad.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I hear when Paul Carcaterra, Quinn Kessnick, when they talk about the KIRST brothers, you especially, is the passion that you play with and how much you enjoy being out there. I saw an interview and they kept talking about you smiling, being happy, and being that voice of like laughter on the team. Like, has that always been the case for you? You've always enjoyed it so much, and that's how you want to give your mark on the game?
Always enjoyed the process, and it really stems from, as I look back, just growing up, being around Leading Edge as well for our club program, and then Summit High School. We're so blessed to grow up in the middle school and early years of high school, to look up to so many talented individuals and so many well-respected coaches that's really where I've always enjoyed learning from and wanting to become. And also just going into high school, understanding what leaders I have to look up to and can learn from. That's really where the passion has come from. And that's what I strive and continue to try to climb that mountain of leadership and passion. And it stems from the leaders that I've been able to learn the game from, and then all the life lessons outside of it too.
Of course, it transcends just the sport. So growing up in New Jersey, were you a big New York sports fan?
Big Jets fan. So our dad, growing up in Huntington on Long Island, we followed into his footsteps. So big New York Jet fans. And then also my dad was a big baseball fan. So we played baseball up until seventh grade, until you had to make that choice outside of Little League. And we were big Met fans. And then when the New Jersey Nets were at the Izon Center, Continental Airlines Arena, huge Nets fans. It's so funny. Our brother Connor, I think Jason Kidd was doing an autograph signing in the Bridgewater Mall. He still has his signed jersey and picture right below it. So that we loved going to those games as well. I can distinctly remember it was spring break, and I don't know if the Nets were going to be in the playoffs, but it was in March, and we didn't have school, and our dad took myself and CJ, my brother CJ, to the Nets Phoenix Suns game because my dad wanted to watch Steve Nash, and it was like those. And I remember just like tailgating, having lacrosse catch, like just waiting for all those spots to be open so we can leave without any traffic. But yes, we were big Nets fans growing up, big Mets fans, and then still big Jets fans, waiting for waiting for that Super Bowl coming around the corner. So we're fired up for this fall too.
Yeah. What do you think of Justin Fields? Do you think he's gonna,
Excited.
bring it home? Yeah.
I,
Excited? Okay.
I love watching. I think it's so cool now that every NFL team has a Hard Knocks, so to speak, for their own YouTube channel. So, big subscriber to the Jets YouTube, and really excited to watch Aaron Glenn. I'm fired up. He really gets me going, and I hopefully can make it to at least one game. I've been consistent the last couple years. I at least go to one game in person before our indoor season starts up in November. So September or October, I try to make at least 1 to 2 home games, and they've won. They've won. I was at the Eagles game last year, and then this
Let's go.
past season,
Your
I
good
was at
luck
the
charm.
Patriots game. So I got to go to more.
Yeah, of course. All right, so getting into lacrosse. So in high school, you end up going to Seton Hall Prep over the other likes of Del Barton or the other schools like Bernardsville. What chose you to go to Seton Hall going into high school?
Yes, growing up in Bernardsville, had an unbelievable education experience in middle school. Loved my classmates, loved the community, and I think just wanting to take a next step and learn about the other opportunities outside of our town and our community really excited me. Just the competitive atmosphere between Del Barton and Seton Hall, as well as St. Joe's Metuchen. Those were the three schools that I applied and also visited. And in that application process, it ultimately came down to Seton Hall and Del Barton through those two, as well as Bernard's High School, and being accepted into Seton Hall and not being accepted into Del Barton, taking a look at some of the opportunities within taking the train, being home in Bernardsville, and also attending Seton Hall with several classmates that I grew up going to school with. That really excited me. And to have that opportunity to take the train from Bernardsville all the way to Mountain Station, it's about a 55 to an hour minute train ride, but being at one of the last stops on the Gladstone line, which is directly to Mountain Station, every stop just kept adding more and more and more and more classmates. And to play on a freshman football team with 60 classmates in August before you even step foot in the halls, like that was just the best. That I take a look back on it and just continues to remind me that that decision is something that I'm so proud of, and really just grateful for my entire Seton Hall prep experience.
Yeah, me too. It was a great 4 years, and I feel like helped mold me into who I am today. So very thankful for
Definitely.
that. So senior year, you had probably about a million goals when I was watching, but so you end up going to Lehigh straight out of high school. And what brought you there, and what was that experience like for those 4 years? I know it was during a weird time during COVID, right?
Definitely. And in that recruiting process, we were before the recruiting rules in college lacrosse. So you're able to commit in eighth grade and also the fall of freshman year. So that eighth grade summer, that freshman fall, you're playing for a club team in New Jersey, and you're traveling around the East Coast, and you're playing in front of college coaches. And throughout that recruiting process, wasn't really fully grown into the body that I am in today. Didn't hit a growth spurt until late. So in that junior year, fall and spring, I started to really build confidence. And a lot of that has come from Seton Hall, playing on the freshman team, playing on the JV team, and then earning an opportunity to play on the varsity. I really learned how to grow and develop and work on my game. And to have my older brother Colin, who was a senior, so he graduated in 2016 and I was a 2018 graduate, being on the sidelines watching his games as a freshman, and then also earning an opportunity to suit up on the sideline as a sophomore, and to learn from all of those senior leaders and also the junior leaders. I took so much away that when receiving an opportunity to attend Lehigh University and earn an opportunity to be a student athlete, I was so excited. And then as we completed our freshman season, we lost to Army in the Patriot League Championship my freshman year, Collins junior year. And then in his senior season in 2020, we were 5-1 in March, and then the season was canceled due to COVID. Came back home to New Jersey, finished classes remotely, finished that semester remotely, and then my brother Colin graduated remotely. So that was definitely a time that was so new to everyone, and as either a student athlete or just in life in New Jersey. But it was a time where we really came together as a family, and something that I look back on, and I'm really happy that we got to experience that together and such a change in the world.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise having that season canceled early because it gave you an extra year of eligibility to then go on to Syracuse. Was that why you were able to have that fifth year? Is because of that COVID year?
Yes, yes. And in the application process after I graduated and also throughout that senior year at Lehigh, I knew as I studied journalism at Lehigh and learned so much and wrote for the Brown and White, our student newspaper, and had so many great experiences in the multimedia sports department and working basketball, volleyball, and also soccer games and football games. I knew I wanted to pursue this next step and to have another year uh, granted from the NCAA. I wanted to apply and see if that opportunity can continue. And I applied for the master's program at Syracuse University and was able to be accepted in the spring of my senior year of 2022. And after our season was completed at Lehigh, and I was able to take the next step in communicating with the coaches about my acceptance into the program and pursue an opportunity on the field too. And very grateful that I had all of the support from our Lehigh teammates as well as the coaches.
Yeah, so that first year you were there, you were named captain. How were you able to garner such respect from your teammates in such a short period of time? What are some keys you can give to players that are moving to a new school and trying to get immersed in that new community feel?
It was amazing to know a lot of teammates. Lacrosse is such a small world, so knowing a lot of teammates before stepping foot on campus, I distinctly remember just a conversation I had with a housemate, Shaffer Woody, who was one of the first teammates to reach out to me in the summer before starting our summer program. That master's program that we completed at Syracuse started July 5th. So it was the day right after July 4th. That first summer session was July 5th, all the way to about mid-August. And then you have a couple weeks off, and then you come back for the start of the fall semester. And I remember a teammate like Shaffer Woody giving me a phone call and introducing himself and making me so welcome. And that was a moment where I knew that I can display my passion and really show my love to each and every teammate of the sport of lacrosse, but also being part of a team. And that's really what allowed me to have so much success as a teammate is because of the welcoming locker room of Syracuse University. And that's what I continue to look back on is how passionate everyone was in that 2022-2023 team and how excited they were to play the sport. And those are similarities that I take away from Lehigh as well as just how much passion, how much love for the sport of lacrosse is in both locker rooms and being able to share that passion of being a student as well of broadcasting and watching so many of my teammates come to different events that I was able to do reports on. It was really cool, and it's something that I look back on and just smile because of all the love and support from both teams and both locker rooms.
Yeah, as a lacrosse fan myself, it felt like that 2023 season for Syracuse helped propel them into the success that they're at. This year they're heading into the Final Four this weekend. Are you a little bit torn between rooting for your brother CJ versus Syracuse? Like, obviously you're rooting for CJ, but are you still pulling for them in the back of your mind?
Always supporting not only CJ and the Cornell Big Red. That's always been the biggest support that our family has followed, as well as Caden this year at Rutgers. We've tried to get to as many games and knowing the conflicts on Saturdays with our indoor season and then traveling and making it work. Always supporting everyone, and that's what makes this sport the best. It's team. It's always team oriented. So if you have a group of families from Bernardsville traveling, and it could be a carpool of 10 to 15 together. Everyone is just supporting the individuals and the team. And it was amazing being at Hofstra this weekend, watching CJ and the Cornell University Big Red playing an unbelievable lacrosse game against the University of Richmond and take their next step into the Final Four. And then after the tailgates, going right in back into the complex and watching Syracuse and Princeton and to see everyone at both tailgates. It's just it's so warming that you just continue to build these relationships. If you might not have seen them in person for some time, you just know that they're still thinking about you and you're also thinking about them. And that's really what carries on moving forward is that relationship that you build through the sport of lacrosse. And excited to watch both teams compete, rooting for CJ and the Cornell University Big Red, but also supporting the Syracuse Orange and all of those teammates that I've learned so much from 2 years ago.
Gotcha. It seemed like after every goal this past weekend, they were panning over to you and your family. All the brothers were getting hyped up with your mom. It was pretty awesome to see.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. We get excited, and it's just amazing to be with the entire Cornell Big Red fan base. They do such an awesome job of, and so does every university of tailgating. As you know, that family support, being a student athlete, it means so much more. Knowing that people have traveled, people are coming from California, West Coast, East Coast, people are driving from Canada. You really don't know how much it really does mean until you can really feel it hours before you smell the barbecue. You're like, it's game day. Like
Yeah.
there's just a different atmosphere, and I'm sure it's twice the size for football too.
Yeah, it's fun because like after the games is really the only time during the year that you're able to meet players as families. Just coming from California, Texas, wherever it may be. After the game's the only time you're able to introduce yourself and build a relationship with them. So I
Mhm.
always enjoy those times after the game. All right, so moving on. Obviously, you said you're a Jets fan. Do you feel like you emulate your style of lacrosse after any player in a different sport, maybe a football player? You sort of have that like tight end build. Is there any sort of aspects of other games that you bring into your own lacrosse game?
That's a great question. And growing up, we played football, we played basketball, and then we played baseball and lacrosse. So I wouldn't say it was so much of a professional lacrosse player or a professional athlete that I tried to mold my game after. But I will say, growing up and having two older brothers being the middle of five, I would try to emulate players on their teams. And specifically Connor or Colin, like those are my two biggest role models in my life. And then as we got older, CJ and watching Caden too. But I would try to emulate what Colin would do as I would watch his middle school basketball games, as I would watch his football games, how his pad level was low for the Somerset Hills Bulldogs in youth football. And same
Yeah,
was with Connor. And it really helped our dad to be the coach of all of our teams at different times because he really would try to show us how to play the way that his high school athletes, but also the older teams, and really show the model of how to play and play with such passion, heart, but also sportsmanship. And that's really how I would describe it. There's not one professional athlete that comes to mind that I really wanted to model my game after, but it was teammates of Connor, of Colin, and then also CJ once he started to get older, and then watching Caden play last year in high school, it was really cool to try to emulate older high school players as well that come to mind on Friday Night Lights in Bernardsville at Bernards
let's
High
go.
School. Yeah.
Yeah, building off of each other. That's very cool. All right, so lacrosse coming to the Olympics in 2028. Do you have your eyes set on making that Team USA team? I know you played for the team in 2022, the U21 team that won the gold. Is that something that you have active in your mind? You're working towards that goal?
Had an unbelievable opportunity of competing this past fall in Indianapolis in a weekend series with Team USA with my brother Colin, and it was unbelievable to learn the sixes game, continue to take steps in understanding this new style. And our brother Connor was on the United States team and represented our country in Birmingham, Alabama in the summer of 2022. And I was actually at Syracuse in the first summer semester watching those games late in the evenings and watching Connor compete. And he was an all world team member. He can get up and down the field. He was making plays. So to have an older brother to look up to and to take that next step in my training, it would be amazing to have another opportunity to try out and to work within the sixes style of lacrosse, and to have that weekend in Sparks, and to now compete in this past fall, and to continue to try to work my best at earning another training opportunity. I'm excited to just continue to work hard, and in order to get to that next step, it's training camp this coming week, and really excited to get back to the University of Albany, to be back with the Woods and to compete in hopes of accomplishing our mission of winning the PLL championship. So,
Of course. So getting into that, what do you think what steps do the PLL have to take in order to compete with the big four sports in the U.S.?
being part of the Premier Lacrosse League and National Lacrosse League, understanding those two models, been fortunate this to complete my second season with the Halifax Thunderbirds in the National Lacrosse League in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And that league, for anyone that's listening that is unfamiliar, is all indoors. So that's 5-on-5, no defensemen. Goalies are padded up, smaller nets that are similar to the styles of hockey. And that is in the months between November and all the way till May. The championship is actually in a Game 3 final this coming weekend between the Saskatchewan Rush and the Buffalo Bandits. And so that season is close to 7 to 8 months. And then once that season is completed, then the Premier Lacrosse League is in between the months of Memorial Day and the last weekend of May, all the way until September. So there are two professional lacrosse leagues, and a lot of athletes compete in both. And understanding in the major sports of basketball, of football, of soccer, of hockey, a lot of those seasons are more spread out, but also within that 6 to 8 month time frame. So understanding that there are two competing leagues and also two separate leagues in professional lacrosse, I don't really know what is the next step for the Premier Lacrosse League. I am very grateful to be a member of the California Redwoods coming into training camp. I'm really excited to be in year 3 of the Premier Lacrosse League, traveling to so many cool cities and understanding that there are two separate models within the home venue of Halifax, Nova Scotia, within the 14-team league home and away schedule, and then with California Redwoods in the Premier Lacrosse League, that the entire league is touring from city to city and also experiencing new locations and new venues instead of having separate locations for separate games. I'm excited to learn a little bit more in this coming summer if that is something in years to come, if the Premier Lacrosse League decides to have home teams in home cities, and understanding that we are the California Redwoods and we do have a home weekend, if that will turn into a home schedule, a home and away schedule where 2 times a week you're playing in California and you're competing and traveling to New York, to Maryland, and making that consistent, similar to the National Lacrosse League. So I know I was long-winded there, but just wanted to provide that entire understanding to listeners who are maybe unfamiliar with professional lacrosse.
Of course. Like, do me a favor, go out, just spend one Saturday just watching the league. I love it. I sit outside with my dad and I watch it all the time. We have a ball. I think you could even bet on it on DraftKings and make like a little fantasy lineup or something. So just spend one Saturday just investing in it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I'm telling you, it's an awesome game to watch. I love it. All right, so we're heading into like our last few questions here. So after your lacrosse days, I read that you sort of want to get into maybe some sports broadcasting, maybe Sports Center was your dream. What is that thing after lacrosse that you're looking forward to?
Currently, right now, within playing for the Halifax Thunderbirds and the California Redwoods, as well as being full-time with KIRST Brothers Lacrosse, we have been working within the communities of New Jersey, New York, as well as Connecticut and the tri-state area, of having private trainings as well as camps and clinics in the months where school might be off, but also in the evenings. So it's been really fun to build our website, to sell merchandise, and to really provide supplemental training.
Is that the merchandise you got on right there?
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's amazing to represent our brand and our passion, and to build it within our family. It's been really fun and challenging at times, but really exciting for what's to come. And outside of competing, I would love the opportunity to supplement that with broadcasting. I've had some unbelievable opportunities to broadcast and be an analyst. And those are moments that are so rewarding to call a game with such a top professional broadcaster that continues to call all sports. And I truly believe that that would be an unbelievable challenge and also an exciting opportunity to come. But continuing to be where my feet are in competing with the California Redwoods and Halifax Thunderbirds, as well as KIRST Brothers Lacrosse, I'm excited to take these next steps and see if sports broadcasting is an opportunity in years to come.
I love that. Yeah, be where your feet are, but it's sort of like the field that I want to get into, broadcasting and all that. So that's an awesome answer. All right, so last question of the day, niche notable question. So your brother CJ this weekend, Cornell, headed into the Final Four. Right before that game, when you're giving him a text, you're in the hotel talking to him. What is your speech going to be like talking to him before that game?
That's a great question. I don't think that there's anything new that I haven't texted. It's just love you, go get him, LFG. And I think his energy, his leadership, and being back in the Final Four from freshman to now senior year, I just think that they're gonna bask in it in Foxborough at Gillette Stadium. It's such an inspiring venue, and to be there and to have our family there, and it's going to be so packed. It's the first time I believe in some years that the women's lacrosse Final Four is also with the men's. So from Division 1 to Division 3 on both the men's and women's side, every team, all the teams will be competing for the crown for to be the champion from Division 3 to Division 1. So I'm just fired up to watch them compete. Really excited to see the entire fan base support the Cornell University Big Red, and can't wait.
Yep, huge weekend, biggest weekend in lacrosse. Tune in. All right, Cole, that's all we got. I want to thank you for giving us some time today. You've been an idol of mine for a while, coming from Seton Hall Prep. So thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
No, really appreciate this opportunity. Thanks so much for having me on, and really excited for what's to come and to watch all of your success. So really appreciate all the time. Thank you.